After dumping 150 million Neopoints into scratch cards and winning nothing of value, I've learned my lesson. No more scratch cards. Okay, one more scratch card. Right, no more scratch cards. So I gambled on Charity Corner instead. The 2019 version introduced a new perk specifically designed to shore up the problem of leftover points. This last one here, Can I Keep It, gave a random mystery item and could be redeemed as many times as you had points for it, which sounded very enticing to me at the time. What treasures would be included in that mystery prize pool? Rarity 99s? Possibly. An event exclusive stamp? Oh, they know we like those. How about a new book, or collectible like a new Neo deck card? No, it was none of those things. It was just some wearables. I know customization is the main thing on Neopets, I've just never been interested in it. But I already had my points, 336,000 of them, and it cost me 100 million Neopoints to get them. So I had no choice. I got right to work, and I sat on those points for like 10 months because I was so disappointed by the item pool. But then I had some unexpected free time, so I spent a few weeks maxing out every perk that could award Neopoints, items, or pet stats to see how much of my 100 million Neopoint investment I could recoup. Here's my spreadsheet, here's my goal, and here's where I'll track how many Neopoints I get from each perk. The most obvious one I wanted was the bank bribery perk. After selling some stuff, I got my bank account up to about 925 million Neopoints, and I allowed my interest to accumulate untouched for the full year. Counting just the 3% bonus and adjusting for compound interest, this perk was worth roughly 32 million Neopoints. Not a bad start. Next, I'll add the stock market boon because it has a fixed value. The boon saves you 5,000 Neopoints each day for 365 days, which comes out to 1,825,000 Neopoints saved. Although I will note, I spent an average of 300 Neopoints for a single perk point, which means the 10,000 perk points I spent on this boon had a Neopoint value of 3 million, far higher than what this boon saves you. So I actually lost Neopoints on this one, because I didn't think to do the math until after I had redeemed it. Now I'll just go down the list in order. I used the feeding perk to avoid having to spend money on the Neo Lodge. I always use the 100 Neopoint option because I feel it strikes the appropriate balance between acknowledging that my pet is an unfeeling virtual construct and admitting that I have an emotional attachment to it nonetheless. I redeemed this perk 6 times, so that's 600 Neopoints saved. The training perk only saves on time, not cost. But with training, time is money. The faster you want to train, the more you'll have to pay. So we can actually place a Neopoint value on the reduced training time. Except I never mustered up the motivation to train my pet more than once per day, because I can only train level for the next 150 courses, and that's boring. So this perk was completely wasted on me. The random axe perk was one of my favorites because of how big the potential prize pool was. The first event you get right after redeeming the perk doesn't always show up, and that's what happened to me both times. I didn't notice any extra items or Neopoints, so I have no record of those 2 events. Also, because the 1 week timer begins counting from the second you redeem the perk instead of counting by calendar days, you can get 8 events with each redemption if you time it right, which I did on at least 1 redemption, but according to my notes I never got a random event on day 3. All of this is to say that you can get a maximum of 16 events from this perk, but I only have records of 12 of them. 2 events gave me Neopoints, 9 events gave me items ranging in price from a few thousand to several 100,000, and 1 event added a level to my battle pet. My pet uses 4 red code stones per course at the moment, so 1 level is worth on average 100,000 Neopoints to me. I only have the regular shop wizard, so I used Jelly Neo to estimate the prices for everything. I'll chuck these items in my shop and see what they actually sell for later. Overall, I estimated this boon at just under 3 million Neopoints. Originally, I thought I had no use for this limited edition pet perk because I'm just not interested in the customization side of Neopets. But I realized that I was still missing the Halloween Rookie avatar, and this perk would let me get it for much cheaper than normal. The perk changes your pet species, but lets you keep its color. So I bought a Halloween toning morphing potion for just under 30k, morphed my pet, and then used the perk to turn him into a Halloween Rookie, saving myself 2 million Neopoints on a paint job. I was kind of excited about the double scratch card perk, and I even set a timer on my phone to make sure I was buying my scratchies every 2 hours. I went with the deserted fairground kiosk because even the second best card there is worth more than the best cards from the other kiosks. Last time I recorded my scratch cards, it took me over 400 purchases to get 1 Extravaganza. I didn't actually record them this time, but I bought at least 100 or so cards before I started slacking off, and none of them were the good ones. And although 2 of the junk cards are still profitable, I'm pretty sure I lost Neopoints on this perk. But since I didn't bother recording anything, and nothing exciting happened, I'm just going to count this one as a wash. Avatar Goldmine only applied to 1 avatar that it didn't already have. the Edna avatar. According to a hint from the editorial and some data from fan sites, only the quests that ask for 3 items are eligible to give out the avatar. The perk lasts for a total of 42 days, you can get 10 quests each day, and I would estimate I was getting an average of 3 or 4 avatar eligible quests per day. So, of my roughly 100 eligible quests, did I get the avatar? Nope. 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 Nope, 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 nope. No, I did not get the avatar. Again, I lost Neopoints on this perk, but since the avatar has no Neopoint value, it's not like getting it would have made me a profit, so I won't count this one on the spreadsheet. The Cartographication perk was kind of like the scratch cards, but with no chance of losing. The majority of wins are just measly amounts of Neopoints, but there is a very rare chance to also get an expensive item. Most of the items are worth a few mil each, but the big one is the Fairy Cavern stamp, which is worth 50 million. Again, this perk works on a 24-hour timer, which means if done correctly, you can actually get 2 uses out of each redemption for a total of 20 guaranteed prizes from the caverns. I only managed to get 17, but that was good enough because on day 5, oh boy did I hit the jackpot. 10,000 Neopoints. I got it again on day 14, but it's just not as exciting the second time around. Anyway, I added up all the prizes and it came out to about 46,000 Neopoints. The double spin perk was another one of my favorites, even though it was the least profitable of all the perks I used. The only 2 wheels I bothered with was the Wheel of Knowledge for the avatar and the Wheel of Extravagance for the extremely small chance of a Rarity 100 item. Despite all of the double spins, I did not get the Wheel of Knowledge avatar until after the perk expired. As usual, because of the way the timers worked, you could get 2 days of bonus extravagance spins with each redemption for a total of 20 extra spins. I apparently only got 15 extra spins out of mine, but I think I just forgot to record a few of them. Most of my spins were busts or Neopoint prizes, but I did get 2 lab map pieces, 1 junk, 1 pretty good, and I also got plus 5 hit points on my battle pet. I had to think about how best to value this one, because my pet is nowhere near trainable, so I didn't think it would be fair to base it on the training school costs. The most common stat increaser for hit points is this thing, which gives an average of 1 hit point for about 300,000 Neopoints, which would have made this spin worth 1.5 million Neopoints to me. But I'm much too frugal to throw away that kind of money, so I had to go with the third option, kitchen quests. Based on data from the Swift One's pet page, I should expect an average of 1 hit point for every 10 quests completed. Assuming a somewhat generous average cost of 7.5k per quest, that comes out to a value of 375k for this spin. Still pretty good. Into my shop go the secret lab map pieces, and into my spreadsheet goes my profit of negative 400,000 Neopoints. I fully expected to lose Neopoints here. The only way to actually profit off the Wheel of Extravagance is to land on the Rarity 100 spot and then hope you get one of the good ones. But I still enjoy spinning this wheel because the prospect of a big windfall like that is just too enticing, so I don't mind taking the loss on this one. Next up are the Food Club perks. There are 2 of them, and they can be applied simultaneously, so I'm going to cover them both together. I have a pretty old account, so Food Club is one of the best money makers for me when I can be motivated to go copy Garrett's bets. The first one is a standard perk that you can redeem at will and gives you 5 extra bets each day for 1 week with a maximum of 4 redemptions, so a total of 4 weeks of extra bets. The other perk has to be rolled for 2,000 points at a time, and it raises your betting cap by 20% for 2 weeks with a maximum of 2 redemptions, so again 4 weeks total. In theory, you could stack these 2 perks perfectly for the full 4 weeks. But that's not what I did. In fact, I'm no longer sure what I did, because I had no betting strategy going into it, my notes were mostly useless, and I somehow failed to keep these 2 perks lined up correctly, so I have some days where only the extra bets were applied, and other days where only the 20% bonus was applied. At least the 20% one was easy to figure out after the fact. All I had to do was calculate the profit from each day, take 20% of that, add up all the bonus money, and this perk was worth just over 1 million Neopoints. The bonus bets were more of a problem. The first day, I tried to come up with my own strategy, and I won 16 times my base bet on 15 total bets, so I made a slight profit. But had I followed Garrett's bets, I would have gotten a 60 times return. So my new strategy was to use my first 10 bets to copy Garrett, and then use the bonus 5 bets to cover extra boosters or double upsets. And while I managed to profit enough to stick with this strategy, I still have no idea what the optimal use of this boon would be. I kept notes of how well my bonus bets did compared to Garrett's returns, so I could go back through afterwards and calculate my total profit from the bonus bets. Except I stopped taking notes after day 1 of week 2 because that's just how excited I was to be doing this. I at least remember consistently making a profit on my extra bets, but since I don't actually have a record of it, I can't add it to my spreadsheet. Using these notes though, I still made just shy of 1 million Neopoints in that 1 week, although most of that came from a single day where my extra bets allowed me to cover a double upset while Garrett's bets went bust. So this perk was definitely worth it even after I squandered so much of its potential. The refreshed quest perk had a bit of a controversy around it when it first came out. The Battleground boon of the same name allows you to refresh one fairy quest each day for 1 week. The wording on this perk suggested that it would work the exact same way, but instead the perk lasts an entire week while only letting you refresh a single quest during that entire period. People who bought Fairy Quest fortune cookies from the NC Mall were understandably upset about this, because combining the daily fairy quest with a daily refresh gives you an extra chance of getting the fairy you want. But those who tried to stack their cookie with this perk got only one refresh for their whole cookie. Not cool. TNT eventually added this bolded line to clarify that this perk only gives you a single refresh, but too many people had already been duped by it. I'm pretty sure this perk was actually broken on release, and TNT just didn't want to fix it. A bit questionable if you ask me, but lucky for me, I don't train my pet with NC items, so I cannot possibly be let down by this perk. Or so I thought. I randomly got an Earth Fairy quest at some point, and realized I could re-roll it for a chance at a fairy that would guarantee hit points instead. So I applied my week-long single refresh perk, gave it a roll, and I got the Earth Fairy again, and she raised my defense, which is a stat that I do not use. In fact, I'm purposely trying to keep my Battle Pet's defense as low as possible just so I can prove that it's not a necessary stat. So everything about this perk was bad and terrible, and I will be counting the Neopoints I spent as a loss. I was kind of excited for the Wishing Well perk because I had never really used that feature before, let alone won anything from it. And with 5 extra wishes twice a day for 3 weeks, my losing streak continued. I won nothing. Seriously. I followed the guide, I tracked the resets, I did all my wishes, nothing. But I went out and bought a bunch of these goodie bags to show what it would have looked like had the Wishing Well not given away all my prizes to other people. Although, with the Turned Tooth somehow maintaining a ridiculously inflated price, I probably should have wished for that instead. Good thing I already had a few from when they were under 100k. Anyway, let's open up these goodie bags and see if we can get one of those cool wing thingies. Apparently they're worth a lot. Nothing. Oh well, I'd better get these turned teeth into my shop before the price comes back down. Alright, moving on from that disappointment. I was able to use the avatar perk to get the other Royal Corbat avatar, which was nice, but it has no Neopoint value, so there's nothing to add to the spreadsheet. Free stats are always exciting to a battler, and last year I rolled double hit points with this one, so I was looking forward to using it again. But this time it gave me, well, I don't actually know what it gave me. It must have been intelligence because that was the only stat I wasn't paying attention to when I refreshed my page. Either way, it was definitely not hit points or levels, and since those are the only stats I need right now, this perk also had a value of 0 Neopoints. And that's it for the basic perks. Now we're into the random perks. I had so many points that I was guaranteed to hit my max redemptions on each of these, but I didn't actually use them all. I just wanted them out of the way so I could collect the items faster. I don't like the lower avatar game scores on principle, so even though I redeemed this one, I refuse to actually take advantage of it. If the avatar is supposed to require a certain score in a game, then I want to actually achieve that score if I'm going to get the avatar. I did manage to get some full avatar scores regardless, but the rest of these might just remain out of my reach if I can't get them by the end of the year. I picked up the Croc Island site theme so I could use up the perk, but I only used the basic theme, so this was just to add to the number on my user lookup. The first time I saw Color It Wild pop up, I immediately rejected it because again I don't care about customizing my pets, but the instant after I clicked, I realized that I could have used that to get a second avatar pet. An Island Quiggle costs just over 1 million Neopoints for the Morphing Potion and Paintbrush combo, so that's how much I would have saved with this perk. I also found out later that foregoing a perk does not count against your redemptions, but by the time this perk showed up again, I had already gone out and bought everything to get my Island Quiggle. But I'm still going to count this perk at a value of 1 million Neopoints, because that's how much it would have saved me if not for my own bad decisions. We already covered the Food Club perk, so we'll move on to the One More Time perk, which I used on the Spike perk to try one more time for levels or hit points. And one more time, I got nothing, so another 0 for that one. I don't play Flash games, so I didn't actually get any Neopoints from the Pylon perk, but I did get something useful from the Spinnerola perk. My free spin gave me a Nerk mid, which normally would be a loss, but since the spin was free, it's all profit. Gambling with a single Nerk mid is no fun, so I'll just throw it in my shop. I had no intention of painting my pet, but on a whim, I used the Zapped perk to paint my Werhound yellow. I still can't decide if I like it or not. It might just be because my pet had stayed the same for over 10 years, and the dog he was based on is dead now, so it feels weird to change him. Yellow pet paintbrushes are valued at 150k, so that's what this perk was worth to me. Prized Possessions was a really good perk, and would have been even better with a month of premium, but even with my basic loot drops, the extra code stones added up to almost 800,000 Neopoints, which is about 100k shy of what I'd expect based on my previous drop data, but I definitely forgot to collect my prizes a few times throughout the 28 days that this perk was active. For comparison, my drop data against the space fungus on the hardest setting, which gives the best possible drops of any opponent, would have netted me twice the profit in bonus loot. I'll stash these away in my safety deposit box so I can train my pet with them later. And now we've reached the grand finale. This perk was the whole reason I dumped so much into this charity corner, and seeing this prize pool was the reason I waited almost a full year to actually redeem my points. After redeeming everything else, I still had almost 250,000 points left over, enough for 124 exclusive items. Here's the spread of items I got, and here are the prices according to Jelly Neo. The boudoir wasn't that much rarer than the others, and the dresser was right on average, so I guess those two must be more sought after to be worth so much. The clothes rails, altogether, would come out to 28 million Neopoints, but I took a peek at the price history and it looks a little sus. Between the time I redeemed my points to the time I actually got around to writing this, someone inflated these things from 150k to 875k, and it wasn't the first time either. I'm writing this in the first few days of August, and the price is already well on its way back down, so I'm going to use the 150k normal price for this one, bringing the total for this item down to only 5 million Neopoints. The adjusted total for this perk still comes out to a whopping 58 million Neopoints. I have no idea how to judge the value of wearables, so this one was actually a huge surprise to me. The average value per item here is still lower than my average cost for 2,000 perk points, so that doesn't make this good, it just makes it less bad. Since there's no guarantee that the prize pool will be the same for the future charity corners, I'm going to stash these away in my safety deposit box for now. I'm excited to check in on those in another year or two. So that's 335,000 prize points all spent. And now for my final tally to see how much I lost on this. How long must I wallow in bank interest before I recover? Wait, that can't be right. I gained Neopoints? That's not supposed to happen in these videos. So is this a good idea, actually? I mean, that's a positive ROI, which means the more I spend, the more I make. So 220 mil for Charity Corner 2020? I like the sound of that. As my math professor always told me,
the numbers don't lie, and they spell good thing for you as next CC